Now, this is gonna hurt, son.
I'm Tom Noga, the apostle in the film. I'm here to talk to you about my other role as the stunt coordinator.
Action!
Probably the most interesting and fun part of making this film was how we were able to dramatically increase production values without dramatically increasing the budget. Let's look at a few examples, starting with the simple stuff. There's the scene where Frank is tied to a chair and Mathis is working him over. This was a fairly easy one to do at the angle the camera is placed. Tony throws his punch towards Dustin's face. When Tony's fist is at the spot where contact would normally take place, Dustin reacts. Tony's fist is actually about 8 inches from Dustin's face, but at this camera angle you can't detect that. We start out by rehearsing the punch at half speed to get a sense of timing, then we work up to full speed. When the speed and timing look good, we roll the camera. In post-production, the sound of the punch is added and it ends up looking pretty painful. Well, I came up with the idea of lynching a guy by dragging him by the neck behind a horse. In many hanging scenes I've seen in films, the hook is located too low on the harness, so the body hangs at an odd angle, giving away the fact that the body's not actually hanging by the neck. The noose is slipped around the rope that's hooked to the harness, and it bears no weight at all. So if in the very unlikely event that the rope should become unhooked from the harness, it would slide free of the noose, thus preventing any harm to the performer. The gag we did for the character Jack is not really a stunt, but we felt it was going to be physically demanding on the actor, so it's an interesting story to tell. What I came up with was this. Dig a hole in the ground, big enough for Shane to sit in comfortably. A 2-piece plywood cover would be placed on top with a hole for his head to stick up out of. Dirt is placed over the plywood to match the surrounding ground.
Bless you. Now get me out of here.
A high fall always adds a good bit of value to the action. Off an object or building up to 100 feet or more. Our fall was from a second-story balcony. Not real difficult. The big gag was the dynamite explosion. This is the one we planned and tested before we went into production. During the battle scene, some of Till's men crack open a box of dynamite. One of the guys grabs a stick, lights the fuse, and as he's about to throw it at Frank, he gets shot, drops the stick of dynamite, falls on it, then boom! We had a guy named Jim Bell who made a very lifelike dummy that honestly looked just like the actor. The dummy, of course, would double for the actor and get blown up. A couple of weeks before we began principal photography, we went out to do some tests. I gathered the materials I needed to build the explosive devices and a detonator. I wanted a device that would blow up upward, more upward than outward, thus minimizing the danger of damage to people or property. I am so jazzed about the fact that the materials to build the device and the detonator only cost about $20. That's the thrill of independent filmmaking, finding creative ways to do things on a small budget.